Hey folks, this is Nod, and we are mucking around with X-Plane again. Alright, last episode I did a magnificent video about Mount St. Helens, and I had some really awesome scenery up there, and I flew my bush plane, and I won't say what happened in case you haven't seen it, but it was kind of fun. But I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the scenery I did for the actual scenery. I mean, the scenery I did for the scenery. That's good. Yeah. Anyway, a couple of confessions to make. I think I screwed up on that video, and when I made my original tile for the area, even though I say in the video it was zoom level 19 at the top there, I don't think it was. I've actually remade the tile since then, and it looks nicer. You're actually looking at a picture of it now. This is the latest version. I took a screenshot from the game, from the simulator, and it's I don't think it looked that good in the video. Yeah, so I think that is actually zoom level 19. The other thing is I was so googly-eyed about the scenery. I was like, oh, look at that, looks amazing. I completely didn't notice that there were no trees anywhere in my scenery on that. Well, at the airport where I started out flying from, that's actually another tile right below, the one with Mount St. Helens in it. That had the regular overlays and the autogen trees and power lines and roads and stuff. But once I get up above that tile into the Mount St. Helens area, the custom tile I made, I kind of screwed up, and I'll explain how I screwed up a little later in this video. But yeah, there were no trees anywhere, so I kind of want to touch on a couple of things about the Ortho4XP process, and see if I can clarify some things, and also show exactly what I did to make this scenery, because it's I used a slightly different technique than you see most of these how-to videos, so maybe it'll be new to you. Anyway, keep watching, it's going to get cooler, I promise. Right, so this is Ortho4XP. At the time I'm making this video, this is version 1.03. If you're watching this in the future, it's probably something different, but hopefully this video will still be applicable. We shall see. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to hop over to my the world view here. I have some scenery made so far. I'm kind of just getting started reducing a whole bunch of new stuff, because the stuff I had before was, you know, the more you learn about this Ortho4XP, the more you end up redoing your tiles, because you learn better ways to do things. So I'm in the process of redoing this right now. So anyway, here is our tile up here in Washington State in the United States. So I'm going to double click on that. That gives me 46, 123, 123, and it's been applied up here. So I've actually removed the scenery just for this tutorial here real quickly. I've got a backup of it, so I'm not actually going to do this, but I'll show you kind of the steps I go through to create this tile. So anyway, alright, so all I'm going to use this for is just telling the software which tile I'm going to be I'm interested in. So I'm going to put that over here for now. And we're going to come over to the main thing here. Alright, so we're going to hop into the bit that scares most people with this this program is the yeah, this one. There's a whole bunch of stuff on here, and if you don't know what any of it does, I suggest clicking on these things, and it'll give you lots of very mysterious information about what it does. And it is actually worth learning what all this stuff does, because it's yes, you could just leave it alone, and you probably should when you first get going, and just run with the defaults, and everything will look pretty darn good. However, the more you know about this stuff, the more you can tweak this stuff, and it'll definitely help you out. For example, here's a little-known feature that I think a lot of people don't know. Under max convert slots, what this does is actually sets the amount of CPU processors or cores that the Ortho will actually use while it's converting your JPEGs into your DDS texture files that X-Plane can read. That's a really CPU-intensive process. It's converting all this bitmap information. So the more CPUs you can allot to that, the better. I think the default is like 4 or something. I've cranked it up to 6. I have an 8-core processor on my machine, so I figured I would leave 2 cores free and leave 6 of them for running this, because you always got stuff in the background and running these things, so I don't want to use all 8. Plus, I don't want to melt my computer either, so that's a little unfair. I think that might speed things up quite a bit for you. Play around with that, see what it does. Okay, some other things here. Alright, the curved tall here. This one. Yeah, this is a bit mystifying for a lot of people. I think the default is 2, which is probably what you should leave it on. I've experimented with this, and I've dropped it down as low as like 1 or even 0.5, and what it basically does is it the actual mesh underneath it creates the actual it dictates just how much detail, how many triangles it can break this mesh down into, especially when the terrain starts undulating and you've got ditches and little tiny, craggy bits on top of this and that. The smaller that number is, the finer that detail will be, but also the larger your mesh file will end up being, and they can get really enormous really fast. So I've actually been leaving this on 2. I did experiment with a bunch of stuff, but it brought my computer to its knees when I had it down lower. So however, for Mount St. Helens, because this is actually so critical that the mounted actually look good, I'm going to drop this down to 1.75, but just for this particular tile. Most of my stuff I'll run on 2. Custom Dem. This is all about the mesh, pretty much, generating your mesh, and there's a 2-part process to this. One, you download this Dem file from the internet. Actually, it'll do this for you, and you can choose from different sources, and it'll then apply that to a mesh and create a mesh that goes over your topography and creates the actual terrain. This is probably the #1 cause for people not really sure what's going on. The thought is you want to use the smallest, finest, highest quality mesh you could think of, which I think out of these is probably this Ned 1/3 inch here. And that creates a really, really high, lots and lots of detail in that Dem file. However, if you're using a fairly high curve tile up here, like 2 or even higher, it's kind of overkill. You've got so much information, and then it just gets changed into this big clunky thing that you really don't need that much data. So generally, I run this on just Ned 1, or even the default, which is the Viewfinder Panorama, which I've been using for quite some time actually, and that's fine too. But for most of your stuff, it does a fine job. So I'm just going to use Ned 1. This is a brilliant feature. Prior to this version, I used to just actually go around and highlight my airports separately, and and put the zoom level higher just around my airports. Did that manually, which was quite a bit of work, and I just love the way this is now sort of automated. What this does when you click this to true, it changes the zoom level for just your airports, and it knows what airports are in your tile, which is really cool. And it'll there's a couple of things that are really important here. There's the cover zoom level, which I've got cranked up all the way to 19, and this is the cover extent, is how many nautical miles outside of your airport that high quality zoom level will go. So the way I've got this set up is for 2 nautical miles all around my airport, I have zoom level 19 textures, which looks really nice. Use decal on terrain. This is a brilliant feature. I was actually doing this manually using some crazy batch files and adding textures. But anyway, I'll explain what it is real quickly. If you don't know, it's Ortho textures on your terrain look wonderful when you're up 2,000 feet or higher. But the closer you get, after a certain threshold, it suddenly turns into this sort of blotchy, blurry, sort of pixely mess. Once you get all the way down to the ground and actually land on it, it almost gets to the point where it just looks like it's just an absolutely smooth, blurry sort of mush you're sitting on. There's no detail in there anymore because each pixel is now like this big. What this does is it actually adds a grainy texture underneath your main texture, your main ortho satellite imagery. So when you get down close, you see a sort of graininess to it, which gives you the impression there's some granularity to the, that's a good word. I can't pronounce that, but anyway, there's some actual stuff on the ground when you get close, and it makes a huge difference, especially when you're landing helicopters or something, or you're flying really low. You can really see where the terrain is just by all the little speckles. It also wreaks havoc when you're trying to record stuff on YouTube, because it just adds all that noise texture in there and really plays havoc with the YouTube compression, video compression things, but it's worth it. Anyway, you should definitely have that on. True, absolutely brilliant. Custom Overlay SRC. What is that all about? Well, that's pretty much where your roads and your houses and your power lines and all on your trees and all that stuff is stored, and that's where Ortho4XP goes sniffing to find that data. And where does it get it from? Well, it usually gets it from your X-Plane Global Scenery folder. You go into Global Scenery and you use Global Scenery, and you don't go past the Earth nav data because reasons, and you hit that, and that's usually brilliant. However, this is a bit of a however, my tile with Mount St. Helens in it is in the middle of the explained demo area. And Lamina Research has put the overlay files for the demo area in the demo area global scenery, which makes a lot of sense now that I've realized that, but I didn't at the time. So when I go in here, I have to choose demo area, and you're not supposed to go past that, but I will show you real quick. There's three regions in here that have a few files in them. One of them being the 4030s area, 130s area. So that is where my tiles were hidden, and I didn't realize I had to do that. And anyway, so I would select that, the demo area, not the regular one, and that's kind of what happened there. So hopefully that makes some sense. You don't have to do that ordinarily, but if you are going to use, you're going to try to generate any ortho tiles in the demo area, don't forget to go into the demo area, nav data stuff. Okay, this is the part I really wanted to get to, and hopefully you're still watching. All right, let's get out of here. And we're going to go into the zoom level folder. Tab or whatever you want to call this. Make it nice and big. Alright, a couple of things real quick. It defaults to OpenStreetMap OSM data, and I'm going to pop in there and just show you that real quick. What's nice about this is if you're looking for specific things like airports, they're really easy to see in this. You try doing this in the satellite imagery, and good luck finding these little tiny airports. So this is actually really useful for finding little towns and roads and things like that. Want to find this little airport here. It's much easier to use the thing. However, they kind of automated all that now. It does the thing around the airports now, so you don't really have to go bucking around in here looking for airports and stuff. But this is a handy way to do it. So we're going to switch to Bing, which is what most people use, or use the preview for that. Okay, so yeah, clearly, finding one of these airports that we were just looking at, good luck. But we're not worried about that because it's doing that for us automatically now. So we're going to scroll all the way down to Mount St. Helens, which is down here somewhere. There she is. So there's our mountain. Alright, so you've probably seen dozens of tutorials on this, and they all talk about to add a texture, you choose the zoom level you want. Say we want to do zoom level 19 around Mount St. Helens and make it look really pretty. So what you do is you hold down the control and then you hit the mouse button 1. And you start dropping in these little tiles. You've all seen this. It's like, yeah, whatever, been there, done that, great. And then you right-click to make them go away. And you can change the zoom levels and make them bigger. You've done all this stuff. However, I've almost never seen a tutorial that tells you about the other option, which is the hold down the shift button, and you can then do the zone point thing. And this is where I think this is really powerful, and I don't know why people don't put more tutorials about it. But what you do, pick a spot. I'm going to start like at the bottom here. You click once, I'm going to move over, and click again, and you can see what it's doing. It's letting me trace a sort of outline around my mountain here. And this is all going to be, as you guessed it, zoom level 19 within this boundary area. And what's nice about this is it's, this is obviously not a square mountain. It's got all sorts of shapes and curves to it and stuff. So you could actually use this polygon tool. Hit save. And all that stuff in there will now be zoom level 19, which is, so much nicer than using those squares. And I'm going to switch to 18 here, and I'm going to actually, this is the river sort of thing that I use to come into this zone. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to pop a little things here. Here's my beaver dam I went to, and I'm going to do some level 18 scenery around here. I'm going to expand that out and wrap around the mountain a little bit more. As you can see over here, the actual size, the approximate add size, it's every time I drop one of these zones in, it adds an enormous amount to my tile size. But in this case, I'm okay with that because this is kind of a special case tile. I want like crazy quality, so it saves on that up to 5.7 gigabytes extra on top of the base level zoom level 17 that I'm using for the rest of the stuff out here. So now I've got really good coverage of my mountain here, and the rest of this tile, it's enormous. I don't really care about this. I don't need any crazy detail out here, but that's a really nice way of of adding some extra detail in places, like say maybe like this little lake here. I'll put 19 around that. Who knows? Maybe you live next to this and you're like, I want to see my house from here. And you're not just around an airport or something. And you don't have to go around it with the 18, but I like the little transitions into the new zone. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of how that works, and I think that's really neat. I think that's a much better way of doing it than dropping little rectangles everywhere. So you would hit apply and exit, and that's all good. Okay, at this point, I'm pretty much ready to go here. Now, ordinarily, when you're making these ortho tiles, you'd run around and you'd highlight a whole bunch of tiles. You hold the shift down and double click, and you get that little red outline around it. And you can use this batch build thing, and you just highlight all these buttons, and you can create a whole area at once, and you kind of go away for the night and wake up in the morning, and you got all these beautiful ortho scenery done for you, because it takes hours and hours and hours. However, on these single tiles, when you're doing custom stuff like I just did, using the zoom level tool, I suggest doing it one at a time. So I've done everything I need to do here. That's all good, and I'm going to do the very important thing here: write tile config. Do that, otherwise, yeah, you'll be sad, and then it won't work the way you wanted it to. So I'm done with that window. So at this point, everything else is pretty much set up to go here. I'm going to hit all in one, and it's going to start processing my tile. And you've probably seen this. It takes anything from 20 minutes up to like hours, depending on what you're doing. However, I'm going to stop this because I've already done this tile and I don't really need to do it again. I'm going to restore it for my backup. It's just for the purposes of this tutorial. Anyway, I think that's the tutorial part of this. Let's actually go do some flying, and I'll show you my mountain in its full glory now that I've actually fixed it. And it is really nice. Right, we are back in the simulator. So let's get in the air and let me go show you the scenery, what it should have looked like. Yeah. Alright, it's all set up. I'm not going to show you the whole flight. I will obviously skip ahead to the interesting, exciting parts. So, alright, that's all good. Let's get going. We're back at the same airport I did in my previous video. Whiskey November 10. Alright, up we go. Working on my bush plane takeoffs. Full power. Dump in all flaps at once and yank on the stick. Gets you up early. The flaps away almost immediately. I guess the idea is to get into ground effect, get the air, and you're flying. Very dangerous though. Good chance of stall. Horrible things. Alright, so we are up and about. Some buttons here. Buttons. Alright, so in the previous video I had an overlay scenery here. That was no worries. It was once we got around this corner over here, that's when things started getting a little weird. So, case in point here, here's my beaver dam. Not maybe made out of beavers, made by beavers. As you can see, there's like trees and everything all over the place here now. This looks much more the way it should. This stuff down here actually looked really good. And the overlay trees are a little bit more chunky. But the other thing I commented on was I wasn't sure if this was just a regular reservoir dam or whether it was like some sort of hydroelectric thing. But now that I've got the ortho tones on and the overlay turned on, you can see there's a bunch of power lines down there. So I'm going to go hydroelectric on that. So yeah. Okay, interesting side note here. Remember I pointed out a helicopter pad that might be a really good place to take off instead of starting way back in the other airport. Yeah, I'm not sure that's an option, to be honest, because I don't even know if you can get a helicopter in here, let alone a bush plane. Let me see if I can point out where it is here. Stick my head out the window. I think that's it down there. Yeah, it's a little bit of a zombie apocalypse going on here. Seem to have overgrown a little bit. Yeah, good luck you can get a helicopter in there. So clearly that airport needs working on. But yeah, I thought that was funny. Yeah, you're not getting any bush planes out of there anytime soon. So right away you can see there's a bunch of little trees all creeping up the side of the mountain here. I didn't have those before. That looks a lot better. And also, yeah, I don't know if you can really tell yet, but it's starting to look pretty zoomy, pretty high zoom over there. It's already looking pretty good. We haven't even got around the side of the mountain yet. I mean, maybe the YouTube algorithm kind of, the compression kind of takes away some of this detail, but I can see some pretty astounding textures going on here. That's just, yeah. You can see even the wrinkles inside the wrinkles. Alright, let's get around the side of the mountain here. Alright, this is where things start to look pretty. Look at that. Yeah, now we're getting some like real zoom level 19 goodness going on here. And once again, I think I'm going to try landing in here, so why not? Yeah, this is what it should have looked like in my video. Look at that down there. Wow. Alright, let's see if we can land this puppy. Coming off on the power. Get the flaps out. Gonna try for a different direction this time. Okay, flaps down. The airspeed down a bit. Proper bush landing in a volcano, yes. I've done this before, so hopefully this will go better than last time. There's no guarantee. Oh boy, okay. Let's keep her coming down. Slight uphill gradient might be a good thing. Might be. Okay, so far so good. Oh, one over bump. Brakes. It says great landing, very good flare. On a volcano even. You can land a tail dragger on a volcano. You can land a tail dragger anywhere, right? Ah, yeah, very pleased with myself there. Look at that. Let's have a quick hop out. Take a look around again. Bring it up. Here we go. And we're out. So once again, sorry for my horrible cinematography skills, but yeah, it looks. I mean, it still looks a little chunky in here because my terrain mesh is. I changed it to 1.75. I mean, you can still see the facets in the mesh itself. I mean, you could make it higher. In fact, there's even a way of making just the local area instead of the entire zone. You can change the actual mesh, but I mean, this could be improved. But to be honest, I am pretty happy with the way this looks. Let's do a little zoom out here. You got a couple of trees going up the side there. Look at that. Isn't that weird? But yeah, that's starting to look more like I had in mind for my original video. I wanted to do the video over it, which I suppose I am kind of doing, but yeah, that looks absolutely fantastic. So yeah, that's kind of what you can get using Ortho4XP. Alright, back into play. I'm going to get out of here. I want to show you one more thing. Something occurred to me. It could be kind of fun to try. As you know, this is a giant. This whole mountain kind of slid down the side there. I'm going to see if we could just roll down here and see what happens. See if I even need to. If I can take off without using any power. Let's find out what could possibly go wrong. All right, so I'm going to taxi it around here. Kind of just get it rolling. Maybe I should take the brake off first. There we go. See if we can roll down here and get in the air. I would just like to just shut the motor off at some point and just coast down the hill. You know what? Turn the avionics off first, though. It's bad for the avionics to turn it off while it's okay, we're going kind of fast. So I'm going to slow down here. Alright, I'm going to kill my power. We're just going to coast from here on out. See what happens. Can I get this thing in the air? Let's find out. Oh, going over some big lip here. Airspeed is not alive yet. We're slowing down, if anything. Oh, okay, now we're dropping off. Oh boy. He's rolling. Alright, flaps are away. I'm gonna put one notch of flaps. Oh, I think I might be getting in the air here. Oh. Oh, that hurt. We're gliding. just barely. Keep the nose down, keep the nose down, keep the nose down. I don't know if I should have flaps now or not. Probably not, right? Put them away now though, I'm done for. Alright, put the flaps away, get some airspeed going here. Come on baby, keep flying. Get out over that valley there. Nose down, nose down, nose down. Oh yeah. We don't need no motor. Oh, just right on the verge of a stall, trying to keep her in the air. I'm actually going to touch down here if I'm not careful. Oh yeah, boing. Alright, now we're getting some speed here. Come on baby, fly. You're in the air. Cool. Alright. Gliding we are. That's kind of a goof. Keep some airspeed going here. Running out of valley here, running out of mountain here we are. Running into the valley, rather. Uh-oh. It's looking a bit worrying here. Flying, baby, keep flying. Awesome. That's pretty neat. And we got power again. That was fun. Kids, don't try that at home. Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, there you go. Silliness with Mount St. Helen. Fun. Well, that'll do it for this video. I just wanted to kind of make that, and I felt bad about my previous video. It definitely had some issues. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Give me a like and thumbs up if you like this stuff, and maybe I'll make some more of these. Take care.